Hello students, welcome to the online class of computer studies on behalf of Southern School affiliated to ICSE New Delhi. I am sure that you know what is operating system, but do you know that there are different approaches or modes by which an operating system can manage the overall operation of a computer system? So today our lesson will be to discuss in detail about one of the modes or approaches of OS, that is batch processing system. So batch processing system, and the definition is, in this processing system, a set of jobs with identical needs are grouped in a batch, and the batched jobs are executed automatically one after another by the processor or CPU. So from this definition, I want to highlight two words. Number one is jobs, and the second one is identical needs. So at first let me tell you what is jobs. Always remember, a job means program statements plus input data plus control commands. Okay, and identical needs means the need of same compiler. Like a program written in Java language needs which compiler? Java compiler. A program written in C language needs C compiler. A program written in Fortran language needs Fortran compiler. So identical need means the need of same compiler. So in case of batch processing system, a job is given to the operator in form of punched cards. So a job is not directly given to the computer. A job is given in form of punch cards. So all the data and instructions that are required for a program or for a computer to execute a program are given through punch cards. So you are not familiar with this word also, punch cards. So let's have a look. A punch card is a piece of stiff paper that can be used to provide data and instructions to computer in digital form, that is in binary form. In punch card, the digital data represented by the presence or absence of holes in predefined position. In a punch card, each black rectangular shape is actually a hole, which is made by hand or any punching machine. And whenever a punch card is fed into a punch card reader, which is connected to a particular computer, then if there is any 1, 2 or 3 holes found in a particular column of a punch card, then light passes through that or those holes, which represents true or binary 1, and a character is read by the computer. And if there is no hole found in a particular column of the punch card, then light cannot pass through the card, which represents false or binary 0, and no character is read by the computer. So using punch cards, data and instructions are given to computers in form of binary ones and zeros, that is, in form of machine language, which is very difficult. The programming languages that were used to write programs using punch card in order to execute in early computers were Fortran and COBOL. And remember, you can use a full punch card for only one statement of your program. So if your program contains 50 lines or statements, then you need a deck of 50 punch cards, and they must be kept in sequence. So in batch processing system, the users or the programmers prepare a program as a deck of punch cards. So as you can see here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 6 punch cards are there. So you can tell them as a deck of punch cards. Okay, and this collection of punch cards kept in sequence are kept in sequence. You can see they are kept in sequence, and they are considered as a jobs. And you already know that every punch card is equivalent to a statement. Okay, so these punch cards are submitted to the operator. Like in this diagram, mechanism of batch processing system. So you can see from user 1, job 1, so a bunch of punch cards or a deck of punch cards is here. So job 1, then job 2, then job 3 from user 3, then job 4 from user 4, and then job 5 from user 5. Okay, so these jobs are submitted to the operator for execution. So job 1 is submitted to the operator, job 2 is submitted to the operator, job 3, job 4, and job 5 also submitted to the operator for execution. So the operator will sort the job with identical needs as a deck of punch cards. Okay, now you already know the identical need means the need of same compiler. Okay, but how the operator will understand that which job, what are the jobs that need same compiler? Okay, so for this reason, the header card in the deck of punch cards, which one is the header card? This number 1, card number 1 is the header card. This header card indicates the compiler. This card indicates the, sorry, not compiler, this card indicates the operator, that which compiler is to be used for the execution of this particular job. Okay, and this card is known as job control card. Job control card. So with the help of this job control card, it becomes easier for the operator to form batches of similar jobs. Okay, so suppose in the mechanism, job 1 needs Fortran compiler, job 2 needs Fortran compiler, job 3 needs Fortran compiler, job 4 needs COBOL compiler, and job 5 also needs COBOL compiler. So the operator will will group job 1, job 2 and job 3 in the same batch, and job 4 and job 5 in another batch. Okay, so I'm forming 2 batches. So job 1, job 2, job 3. So this is batch 1, and another batch is also formed by the operator, that is job 4 and job 5. So this is batch 2. So a job QE is formed by the operator. So this one we can tell as a job QE, not batch QE. Batch QE. Okay. So this batch QE is formed by the operator. Now from this batch QE, batch number 1 at first will be submitted to the computer by the operator. Okay. So this is the diagram of the computer. So you can see that on the left hand side CPU, this portion is CPU and this portion is main memory. Okay. This portion is main memory and this portion is CPU. So the batch 1, you can see this batch 1 is submitted to the computer for execution. Okay. Now in the main memory a small program resides. Okay, and that program is actually resident monitor. So you will now ask me that what is resident monitor. So the answer is very simple. The resident monitor is an OS, or operating system that controls the instructions and perform necessary functions. Okay, it actually works as a job sequencer and sends them to the processor or the central processing unit, which is CPU, for execution. Okay. Now this resident monitor will sequence the job as I have already told. It will sequence the job as per FCFS rule. FCFS rule. What is FCFS rule? FCFS rule means fast come, fast serve rule. That means the job that will come for execution to the computer at first will be executed at first. Okay. So the resident monitor will sequence all the jobs of batch 1, that means job 1, job 2, job 3 as per FCFS schedule. That means as per their submission. And as you can see that job 1, job 2, job 3. So job 1 is submitted at first, then job 2, then job 3 in a batch. Okay. And after sequencing the jobs, this resident monitor will load every job of this batch one after another, not together. Okay, one after another it will load in the main memory. You can see that user program area. So here resident monitor will load all of these jobs one after another in the main memory for execution. So as per the sequence, the resident monitor will load job 1 in the main memory, okay, for execution. Now when the processor is available, job 1 will be sent to the CPU. As you can see here, job 1 will be sent to the CPU. Okay, and it will get executed by the CPU and the output will be produced, and that is also in form of punch cards. Okay, so when the output will be produced by the execution of job 1, then job 1 will be deallocated from the main memory. Okay, so after the execution of job 1, now job 2 will be loaded in the main memory by the resident monitor. So job 2 is now loaded for execution, and when the CPU is available, job 2 will be sent to the CPU for execution. Then the output is produced and job 2 is now deallocated from the main memory. Okay, now job 3 of batch 1 will be loaded in the main memory by the resident monitor. So job 3 is loaded in the main memory for execution, and when the processor is available, job 3 will be sent to the CPU, then the output will be produced, and then job 3 will also be deallocated from the main memory. Okay, so in this way all the jobs of batch 1 are now executed, isn't it? As you can see that, and the memory also deallocated for all the jobs. Now the operator will send batch 2 to the computer for execution. And in the same way, all the jobs of batch 2, that is job 4 and job 5, will be sent to the CPU by the resident monitor for execution. So this is the mechanism of batch processing system. Now we will discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of batch processing system. So at first, the advantages. Number 1, this processing system saves time from activities like loading compiler, because the operator groups the job into the same batch which requires the same compiler. Okay, so in a batch, what are the jobs will be there? They will require the same compiler. So different batch, different compiler. Next point, no time division management is required. What is the reason? Because in batch processing system, at a time only one job gets executed. Now number 3, no interaction with the computer is required, because when a batch of jobs is submitted by the operator to the computer, then it is the responsibility of the resident monitor to send all the jobs to the CPU for execution. So after the submission of a particular batch of jobs, no interaction with the computer is required. So now let's have a look at the disadvantages, and I have already pointed out. Number 1, does not set any priority for the execution of jobs. So batch processing system does not set any priority for the execution of the jobs, because you already know the resident monitor follows FCFS schedule, that is fast come fast serve schedule for job sequencing, to send the jobs to the CPU for execution. That's why the operator, if the operator submits batch 1, then the batch 1, all the jobs of batch 1 will be executed at first. So number 2, the CPU time and memory are underutilized. Let's discuss this one. Suppose this is a computer, this is the portion of CPU and this is the portion of main memory. So at this moment job 1 is inside the CPU, that means job 1 is getting executed. So now job 1 needs to perform an input output operation. So what will happen now? Job 1 will leave the CPU. So job 1 will leave the CPU and it will reach to the main memory for input output operation, IO operation. So at this moment job 1 is absent in the CPU, okay, because it is in the main memory. So what will happen? CPU will be idle or empty. Okay, so CPU will wait for job 1 to return. So when the job 1 will return to the CPU again, then the CPU will start executing the job 1 again. Okay, so this is totally the waste of the CPU time. Okay, so that's why the CPU time and memory, we can say, are underutilized in the mode of batch processing system. And the last point is, it is time consuming. The batch processing system is time consuming, because you know that in batch processing system only one job at a time will be executed. So that's all for now. In the next class I will discuss about multi-programming. So until then, stay safe and goodbye.